let's see. Go here. Escrow letter. So as I said before, this document you will complete, you will send over to the bank, they will sign. And once again, the date you will put today's date. And that date is 5/12/2022. Okay. Property address in question that we're working on right now is 123 Main Street. The city is Hackensack, New Jersey 07601. Okay. Mortgage company. Okay. GET. Home. MAINSTREEMBANK. Loan number. Let's just make up one. 321-943-87. And you fill that out. Now you don't have to type it out if you don't, have all this information ahead of time. But whatever information you have ahead of time, you put it in. But like we know his name and we know the seller's name, so we're going to put Joe, seller here, and we're going to clean it up a bit. So there it lines up. Okay. And then he dates it after he signs, and his signature goes on the top line, and he dates it there after he signs. And all you really do is you fax this letter with your authorization to release information to the bank, and there you have it. They have it on file. So if there's any escrow left over after the fact, they will send it to you.
Okay.
Okay. So I like to call that my happy document. And that works well with any property that has a surplus. It doesn't work with short sales because usually with short sales, all proceeds that are left over go to the bank to cover the shortage that the homeowner or the individual did not pay.
Okay.
Any questions about that document? Okay. So now this is called an affidavit of title. All it really does is really saying to you and to the individual that is selling you the house, they're taking oaths that all these things are true. So we're going to go through this, and I want you to take some notes. I'm not expecting you to remember everything that I'm sharing with you on this document, but the purpose of us doing this, so, if you had to do these documents on a fly, like you're walking around with your case of documents, and in your case of documents, you have at least one of these documents. Okay. So I don't know if you've been to Staples, or if you've been to what do you call it, Office Depot, and picked up something like this, but pick up the one that's 8x14. And if you pick up the one that's 8x14, you can have 14 different places in here that you can stick every one of your documents. There's about 12 documents that needs to be filled out and 3 documents that they just need to sign. But if you get this and you get an 8x14 one, it's long enough to hold all your documents and you can walk around with it. Sean or anyone on the line here, next time you guys are in the office, I can actually show it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. But you get that, and you're always ready when someone comes about and say they want to sell their house. You have all the documents ready. So here we're going to say we're in the county of Bergen. So we're just going to type Bergen, Bergen. Okay. You don't need their social security number here. It's just there for document purposes. If the lawyer calls and asks for it, the lawyer will call and ask for it. Okay. So here we're going to put says under oath, okay, that the person's name that you're buying the property from. So that is Joe Seller, JoeSeller. Okay, represent that, you know, if only one person signs the affidavit, it tells you everything here. Okay, it's representing that we, us, and other shall mean I. Me and my, the statements in this affidavit are true. So he's just, or she's just, affirming that everything in this, information is true. The name, their age, their residence, that they haven't changed their names. And if they do change their names, there's a document that we have them sign. It's called the same name affidavit. And all it means is that if someone was called Linton and then someone was also called Clinton, it's easily mixed up. So you would get a same name affidavit signed saying that Linton Gentles and Clinton Gentles is one and the same person, and the names are used interchangeably. And he represents that this was done from whatsoever. He get it signed by a notary, and that's it. So here, where it says we are citizens of the United States. After today, we will live at. So this is not the address that they're currently living at. This is the address that they're going to live at after they sell their house. So we're going to put 456. Let me fix that. Boom. Underline. We're going to put 456 Main, MAINSTREET. Okay. BERGENFIELD, New Jersey 07621. Okay. Now, ownership, possession, we are the owners of the property located at, and this is the property that they are selling, the current property that you are buying. Okay. And this property is 123 Main Street. All right. Take care. Main Street and Hackensack, New Jersey 07601. Okay, call this property known the property, sell the property to, and this is from when we filled it out previously. So the person that is buying this is the 123 Main Street Trust. Okay, call the buyers, and we are in sole possession of this property. There are no tenants or no occupants of the property. We have owned the property since, and you ask them, how long have you owned the property? But if they give you a year or if they have a closing statement, you take their word for it. That way, when they do the title search, you can verify it. But for this, we're going to say since 2009. Okay. Since then, no one has questioned the ownership of the right of the possession. So they're just affirming that they've been the only owners of the property since then, that they haven't made any improvements. If they have made improvements, you want to ask them, when was the last time you remodeled the home? And then if they tell you they remodeled the home in 2019, you want to ask them what type of remodeling they did. You want to make sure that they obtained the necessary permits, the necessary certificates, and everything that they needed to make sure that it was done right. Because if you go to the county and you apply for, an Oprah report, open permits, and anything that is there, they will basically tell you, okay, in 2019, they installed the kitchen illegally. So then they may tell you you have to pull the kitchen out and get permits and put it back in. So you will just want to do your homework and make sure, you ask them the right questions and get all this stuff done. Liens and encumbrances, you want to make sure that there's no liens, no judgment, no lawsuits. You want to ask Joe Seller, are you married? And if he says no, great. If he says yes, you're going to need his wife there as well. because he can't sell the house legally by himself without his wife signing. Okay, so you basically want him to tell you that he's not married if he's the only one there. But if he is, you're going to check this box where it says we are married to each other, and you're going to need the date they were married, and you're going to need the maiden name to go here, and everything else filled out on this part. But we're moving forward because we said that this person is not married, so this doesn't apply. Okay. This property never been a married or residence, so I would check this box right here. I will put an X in it. Okay. And I would complete going down. And that's the top part. You would ask them, okay, do you have any children? All these questions you'll get used to asking them. You ask him if he has any children. And if they do, you want to ask him if he's current on his child support. If he isn't, you want to know the child support docket number. You will put that there. And you want to know the balance, because if you do a title search and he tells you that he don't owe any child support, and then it comes up that he does owe child support, you're going to have to pay that before you close because it's going to be attached to the house. All right. So here you want to put today's date, which is 5/12/2022. And then here you're going to put Jane Witness. Once again, Jane Witness does not have any relationship or, any financial interest in this house. And then here you're going to put Joe Seller. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Witness. Okay. And that's it for this document. I usually notarize this document, even though there is not a notary blank here. I usually just notarize it at the end of it, just so you know, for your information. So then I'm going to save it. Let's open up a new file. Let's see, this PC, desktop, new folder, MOC, mock closing, PACKET, closing packet. Open that, and I'm going to save it there. So that document is done. So any questions on the affidavit of title thus far? Okay. So yes, it's a lot of documents, and I went over the escrow of deed. I went over the actual deed. I went over the escrow letter, and I went over the affidavit of title. So all those documents, in addition to the purchase and sales agreement, the authorization to release, as days goes along, as weeks goes along, you would basically see me complete all the documents. But at this time, I'm going to ask if there's no questions. If not, I'm going to move on to the next segment.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. So the next segment I'm going to talk about, and it's, brief. Most of you know what a short sale is. Some of you don't know what a short sale is, but in short, a short sale is where there is little or no equity on the property, and we call it the house being upside down. So you owe more on the house than the house is actually worth. So what happens? In most cases, people who are, falling behind on their payments, in most cases, people who are falling 3 or 4 months on their payments will usually go and say, well, I'm behind on my payments. My house is upside down. I can't sell it. So, what should I do? They go to the bank and they try to do a modification. Some banks require you to do a modification first before you go ahead and do a short sale. Okay. It's a requirement that they have. Some banks require you to do, you know, a modification. And then after you do the modification and you get denied for the modification, they then tell you that you are approved and, able to move forward and do a short sale. So with a short sale, there are a list of documents that you're going to need. Okay. And we put it all together in one sheet, call it our seller's checklist. Okay. And seller's checklist. Let's see. I can pull it up. No. Let me pull it up here. All right. So we basically fill one of these out for every one of our properties, and we get the seller's name. Let me see if I can rotate this. Document properties. Let's see. Rotate. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we get the seller's name, the property address. We get the contact name, the home cell phone number, and if they have a job, get the job name. Okay. And all short sales, the bank requires that the property to be listed. Okay. So we tell them, look, we're going to have to list the property. If you have a realtor you like to work with, that's great. If not, we have a realtor in our office that we can list the property for you. Then we tell them, okay, we're going to need a copy of your ID. Not that you're lying to me, but I really want to make sure that you're the owner of this property. And at some point, I'm going to have to do, an asset search on you and a title search on you. And if something comes back that, it says that your social security is attached to it, I have to verify it. So I do need a copy of your social security. I'm not going to keep these documents. They're going to go to an attorney. They're going to go to a title company, and they're going to keep this for the asset search. You fill out everything you see here. Okay. If the property is vacant, you're going to need keys for all the apartments. And if they're living there and you get your documents signed, you want to know when they're going to move out and when they're going to be out so you can close. Okay. Because you're not going to close with them still in the house. That's a no-no. Okay? You need the last 3 months of their bank statements. You ask them, how long have you owned the house? And you ask them, how long have, you lived here? So you want to get everything that you can get from them. That way, in this case, you're prepared to deliver all these things to the bank when they ask you for them. Okay. You want to ask them for a mortgage statement. Why? So you could order a payoff, so you could see who the bank is, so you could see what's owed on the property. Okay. Then you want to have them sign the authorization, which is one of the documents we went over last time. Okay. You want a copy of their most recent 2 pay stubs. So if they work, they get paid every week, you want 2 pay stubs for 2 weeks. But if they get paid bi-weekly, you want 2 pay stubs that covers a month. You want their tax returns. Okay. You want their W-2s, you want their 1099s, you want everything that they get when they file their taxes. This is the most important thing. With the hardship letter that you're going to collect from them, you want a copy of any doctor's reports if they have any. You want a copy of any surgeries if they have any. And the reason why they fell behind on their property is very important. If you can get a copy of their medical records, it helps as well too. Okay. You fill out a monthly budget form. That document is not enclosed in the documents that you get, because every bank has a different document sheet and a different budget form. With those documents and those forms, you fill it out according to what the bank is asking for. And not every bank asks you for a budget form. Sometimes the bank will allow you not to list the house, and all you really have to do is write a letter saying that the house was being marketed for sale by owner, and that's how we found the buyer. They may tell you, well, it wasn't marketed enough, so they may tell you that you do have to list it before you continue. An estimate of repairs is not a requirement from the bank. It's just something that I do. So I will basically walk through the house and say that, okay, it needs a new kitchen, $15,000 to $20,000. It needs a new bathroom, $5,000 to $7,000. It needs a new paint job in the bedroom. Okay, $25,000 to $3,000, depending on the bedroom. If I don't have to do any spackling, if I don't have to do any of those things, those are the prices that I put towards the repairs. And if there's leases, I want to know what it's being rented for, when was the last time the rent was collected, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you have all this stuff, okay, you have 99% of the documents you need, so you can talk to the bank, okay? Because when you call the bank the first time, you're going to send over what's called an authorization to release information. And that authorization to release information allows you to talk to the bank on their behalf. Some banks, if you get a list of them, are open until 8 o'clock at night, because some banks are on West Coast time. So if you call a certain bank now, Carrington, they're still open because they're on West Coast time. Okay. And you can talk to them and you can get all the information you need from them. They'll say, okay, hi, how can I help you? You say, well, I'm calling on behalf of the homeowner at 123 Main Street. They'll ask you for a loan number, and then they'll ask you, did you send over an authorization to release information? You'll then tell them, no. The reason for my call today is so I can get the fax number to send over the authorization to release information. And then they will give you the fax number. You will prepare a cover sheet. Okay. So your cover sheet that you're going to prepare is pretty simple. It's going to say, I don't need to say that one. It's going to say, I, Linton Gentles, am requesting a payoff for the property located at 123 Main Street. Let's see if I can find one real fast. Search, open, browse, desktop, fax, cover, sheet. Okay, that's old. That's old. Sheet. Oh, no. To who it may concern. That might be, that's it right there. When did I do that one? 421. Let's open this one. Okay. To who it may concern, I would like to request a payoff for the property located at 25 Leland, Plainfield, New Jersey. Please make the payoff good until May 15, 20. So I would fax this over to them.
Okay.
I would fax this along with my authorization to release information. Okay. And then I will wait 2 to 5 business days. And if I don't receive it, I will call them back. Okay. And that's the first thing you would do. When you get your payoff, you actually know what numbers you're working with, and you can move forward and get everything else that you need done on the property. You can put in accurate numbers, and then you can prepare all your closing documents. Then, after you do that, you're going to ask them, okay, what do you need in the short sale packet? Dependent on the bank, some banks will tell you everything they need so you can get the short sale started. Some banks, not to mention any, Rushmore and New Res, okay, only need two documents. They only need a HUD and a contract. So if you get those two things to those two banks, they will start the short sale process. Okay. They will order the next step, which will be a BPO or an appraisal. So
Okay.
first, you order your payoff. Second, you fax them over everything they need so they have a complete file. Some banks only need two documents. And when they have that, you go to the next step and you tell them, when can we schedule or order the BPO or appraisal? They usually do it right away after they have a complete file. And then you ask them, what is your turnaround time? Some banks, their turnaround times is, 5 business days. Some banks, their turnaround time is 2 business days. But you give them a phone number and they call you. And then after they call you, you schedule it at your convenience. If the house is occupied, you want to talk to the individual that lives there. If it's vacant, you want to go and meet them there. If you have access to the MLS, it is a good idea to get high comps and low comps for the property and bring with you. If you don't have access to the MLS, find someone that does or use another service like PropStream or, where you can actually go and search for comps for the area and for the property and bring those with you. Not that you want to do their job for them. They won't get offended. They will actually like it because you're helping them and making their job easier. So
Okay.
you go ahead and you meet them. You meet them at the property. I would arrive early before they show up. If you scheduled the appointment for 5 o'clock, I would show up at 4:30 just so you can walk the property and see if there's anything out of place. Okay. I would walk the property or I would drive around the neighborhood just like I did with Vlad before. I drove around the neighborhood and, checked to see what other properties were being sold for. We called other realtors, we called other places to see if there's anyone that would like to buy the property, in advance. Okay. And then we went to alternative markets. So show up early, bring your comps, walk the property with them, ask them a lot of questions. How long have you been doing this? Okay. Make a friend because if he's doing it now, he may be doing it later on some of your other properties. Okay. Ask him how long has he been in the business? Ask him where does he see the market going? What does he think that this property will come back in at? And then you tell them, look, here's my contract. I have it at, and whatever your contract is, just give it to him. If you have it at $120,000, give it to him. If you have your comps, give it to him. Okay. He does not and she does not have to use it, but it's something that they can refer to. Okay. Then you take their card and they may call you with questions that they have. When they call you with those questions, answer them to the best of your ability. If you can't answer them, all you really have to do is says, I don't know the answer to that question, but what I will do is I'll find out for you and I will get back to you. It may be a question you have to call the homeowner to find out, or a question you may have to call us here in the office to find out. We're here for you to help you in any way we can. So he does it. 2, 3 days pass by. You ask him what his turnaround time was. Some said 2, some said 5. So you wait that 5 days and you call them back. You ask them, they're not supposed to tell you. The person that did the appraisal or the BPO, they're not supposed to tell you. But if you made a good connection with him and you made a good friend with him, yes, they will tell you what the actual BPO came in at. So you share that with them. And when they tell you what the actual BPO came in at, it's two things that are going to happen. It's going to come in at the price that you have offered, or it's going to come in at above the price you have offered, or below the price you offered. I've never seen them come in below the price I've offered because, I give you a formula to how we make our offers and you can use it, but it works about, I would say, 65% of the time. So you take the outstanding debt, and this is your first offer. Okay. You divide it by 2,
That would
whatever
be
the outstanding debt is. Okay. Take your outstanding debt. So let's lose a round number like 500,000. Let's say the outstanding debt is 500,000. You divide it by 2, and then you take away what your repairs are. So if it's 250 and there's $50,000 in repairs, your first offer is $200,000 to the bank. The house may be worth 400,000 because of the comps, but because of your repairs and because of the rears, you don't want to pay those fees. It's not your responsibility. So you just send that into the bank. Now the bank is going to come back and say, well, your offer is too low. We're countering at 225. What did you just do? You just got a house that's probably worth $400,000 below market because you made an offer that was below market and the bank accepted it because of the comps that you gave your guy. They may come back and say, well, your offer is too low. We're countering at 250. You still got a house below market. So you could still turn around and sell it for 300,000 and make a profit and still keep it under market. If you're going to sell it to a wholesaler. Or you could fix it up, do the $50,000 in repairs and sell it to a retailer. Okay. So you have many options, once you buy a short sale, once you buy it on the market and you get it priced right. They may come back and say, well, we'll accept your offer at $200,000. Okay. So there's so many scenarios that will come up. And I've even seen where they came back and says, well, your offer is way too low. Okay. You're trying to steal this house. We're countering at 425. So in that case, if they're countering at 425, what I'm saying to them is that, the buyer is not willing to go up $225,000 on their price. So, I have to talk to the buyer and see what they're willing to do, but I will get back to you. So then I get on the phone, I call the buyer and I figure out, look, we offer 200. The bank is asking 425. The house is only worth 400. What do you want to do? 9 out of 10 times, they would say counter at 300 or counter at 325. So more than less, we'll counter at 300 and the bank will come back at 350 and we'll settle there. So you see how much wiggle room you can create by just going back and forth with the bank. And you see how much time it can take just by going back and forth with the bank. So with that said, that's where the negotiations start. And when you're negotiating with the bank, it can take as long as 15 days and as long as 3 to 6 months. Because if they come back the first time and don't accept your price, you're not going to move forward. You're going to wait till the BPO expires, the appraisal expires, which is a time frame of 45 days in some cases, and in some cases 90 days. So you have to find out, how long their BPO or appraisal expires, and then wait for it to expire and go back in with another offer. So when they say they accepted your offer, then you have to figure out how you're going to, move the property. Are you going to hold it? Are you going to keep it? Are you going to rehab it? And are you just going to wholesale it or flip it? 9 out of 10 times, if it's a great deal and you can buy it below market, I suggest you hold it for yourself, and do what some of our students are doing, Airbnb it, rent it out, or, keep it as, a property that you can use, you can wholesale. However you want to get rid of it, the choice is yours, and we'll make that decision together. I would say if you're just getting in the game, you should wholesale it. And if you've been in the game for a while and you already have the cash flow, I would say rehab it and sell it to a retail investor. Okay, the sky is the limit. Based on what I shared with you so far, does anyone have any questions?
Lincoln, sorry.
Yeah.
The part with the wholesale, with the short, can you wholesale a short sale, or are you going to purchase it first and then transfer the ownership from you to the other investor?
Once you have the short sale approved, you can treat it like a regular deal. So yes, you can wholesale a short sale once it's approved.
Okay. Carl, I was hearing some information way back where you can't, but okay, no problem.
If you brought the property and it's upside down $200,000, you can't wholesale it at that point.
Okay.
But when the bank says, I'm accepting your property has $400,000 in debt on it for $225,000 and it's worth $300,
yeah,
okay, you can wholesale it because you got it at $225. You can wholesale it to somebody for $245, make the difference of $20,000, and then they basically will buy it cash for $245, and then the debt is paid off. The first person who owned it is no longer liable, so it's still like you're wholesaling a short sale.
Okay.
Because it's approved.
Okay.
If it's not approved, you cannot wholesale it. But that end buyer has to come with cash, or you have to use what's called transactional funding to fund the first transaction, and they would have to close the second transaction.
Okay. So you're doing A, B, and C closing.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
And nowadays, some short sales are saying you have to hold it for 90 days. So if your payoff says that it has to be held for 90 days, you're going to have to hold it, pay it off, and hold it for 90 days before you can sell it. So you have to read the payoff before you make that decision too.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. So I'm going to talk about selling, and I'm going to go through some other documents. So next time we meet on next Thursday, I'm going to go through some other documents. Like every week, I want to touch 3 or 4 documents, like the first half an hour, so that, you can see it over and over and over again. And eventually, seeing it over and over again, you can fill it out yourselves. And then I'm going to talk on time management, selling these things, and wrapping it all up in the next time we talk on Thursday. So if, we have no more questions, I want to thank you for joining me on this live stream. Welcome to the C4 program, where, your goal and our goal is to get you motivated, get you going, and get you dialing on the phone so we can go on appointments with you. And after we go on appointments with you, we get these deals locked up with you and show you how you can market and sell them. So thank you for joining us on the C4 program. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you too.
Signing out.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.